So, Tristan, our next story is about a rascally wabbit. It's about this rapscallion. Some people know him by the name of James Tiberius Gunn. I don't know if that's his middle name. James Gunn, which we've talked about on this channel before. We talked about him 3 episodes ago, perhaps. And we said it then. We're not going to say it. Well, we're not going to say it in full again, but we're going to say, I'm going to abridge. We like abridged series. I'm going to abridge what we said about him last time. His quote-unquote jokes, if you want to even call it that, were really bad. They were dumb. They were the worst. I don't even want to call them jokes necessarily. Yeah. It was just really stupid of him to ever say those things. And if you want to say he should have been fired, then he shouldn't have just been hired at all, frankly. Because he made these jokes so long ago, and there was a controversy surrounding it so long ago, that it preceded him actually being hired on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So it's just really, really, really stupid that he was fired by Disney now,
right,
after making those jokes years ago, apologizing for those jokes, yes, and claiming full responsibility. But what happens? He says bad things about Trump, and then I believe it was Mike Cernovich, who has on the record made jokes, what he claims are jokes, about raping women, beating his wife, and then he's the guy that's talking about how James Gunn making these, not even calling them jokes. He said that James Gunn was a pedophile.
Because he's got nothing better to do.
Well, I mean, yeah. But anyway, so yeah. But apparently James Gunn has better things to do because DC, have you heard of them, Tristan? Warner Media? Have you heard of those guys? Have you heard of DC? Tristan?
Yeah.
Did they ring a bell?
Heard. I've heard they put out some movies.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh fuck. They put out some movies, but I recently watched. Funnily enough, and I didn't do this for this podcast. I recently watched. What was it? I already had seen Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, but I recently saw Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League. Justice League was not as bad as anyone said, I believe. But if someone says it was a masterpiece, I would disagree wholeheartedly. If someone said Suicide Squad deserved an award, disagree. But is it like the worst? No, it's just painfully average. With fun actors. Having fun.
I want that to be a description for movies. Like, painfully average, but with good actors.
Yeah, no, because Will Smith was great in that. Margot Robbie was good. In fact, I actually swear to God, I enjoyed, it wasn't Leto. No, it is Jared Leto. Jared Leto's version of Joker. Yeah. I enjoyed it, actually. Because here's the thing. We see him in the trailers looking all tatted up out of jail. He's in a suit for most of the movie. He's just an updated gangster. He isn't the Al Capone with the hat and the cigar, but he's an updated gangster. So he still has the suit and everything. He's still driving around in Lambos and all that stuff. He's updated, right, for modern times, but he's still this gangster that people have wanted him to be since they saw Mark Hamill voice him over in Batman the Animated Series. Right, yeah. But how is this relevant? Well, it's funny. It is relevant. And, of course, Wonder Woman was really good, too. That was the one that shines out of every DC movie that I've seen over the last 6 years. However, James Gunn has been hired by DC, and it seems as if he's going to be working, not necessarily directing, potentially writing, the next Suicide Squad film. I'm going to say whoops on Disney's end.
Whoops.
I'm going to say whoops. And here's why. Well, what are you going to say?
No, I'm just thinking Suicide Squad has a second movie?
Well, no, not yet. That's the thing. But here's the funny thing. I'm pretty sure Suicide Squad did well at the box office.
Oh, right.
That's the interesting thing with Suicide Squad. I'm pretty sure it did get an award, by the way, but for special effects or practical effects. Okay. That's what it got. But it still is an Oscar-winning movie. God damn it. It's an Oscar-winning movie, Suicide Squad. Technically, because it won an Oscar or an Academy Award in it wasn't set design. I think it was costume design.
Oh.
And I'm not saying it didn't deserve it, by the way. The costumes looked really good, to be fair. But anyway, it's just an odd thing to be able to have Suicide Squad, something that critics and even a lot of fans alike were like, "Oh, that's bad." And again, even me, I'm saying it's painfully average, not giving it an A in any way, giving it like a C+.
You got a solid C+. You passed.
Yes.
But just.
Yeah. So when it comes to Suicide Squad, and when it comes to James Gunn, it's just so funny because Suicide Squad came out after Guardians of the Galaxy, and it felt like when it came to Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad, once people saw that Guardians was so popular, not only did it feel like Suicide Squad was then greenlit, but that the trailers and stuff like that, and even the movie itself is trying to admit this, oh, they're just a bunch of scoundrels.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, sure, Rocket killed a frick ton of people, you know? But, like, Groot is still trying to be a nice guy. Drax is funny. Yeah, again, yes, a murderer, to be fair, but there's just an air about him that's much different than the characters that we... Like, Drax is different than Harley Quinn. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, that's the thing. With Guardians of the Galaxy, also because I think a lot of the viewing public...
A little bit of bad, a little bit of good.
A little bit.
It depends on what we want to do that day.
Yeah, and with Harley Quinn, yes, her more recent stuff... No, Harley Quinn has turned to the good side, or has been kind of a in-between vigilante, depending on what comic you're reading of her.
Yeah.
But I still think as if it was... With Suicide Squad, it was a bit different to try to take these villains and just be like... and the tone was just very odd, and there was a lot of contemporary music that I like, but I'm not a big fan of when movies or TV shows turn certain montages into musical numbers, like music videos.
You're right.
If they turn into musical numbers, that'd actually be great. I would love to have like a theater version of some of this shit, but I'm talking about like actually having like turning them into music videos, which is like I'd rather just have orchestral stuff in there.
Right.
Because then when there was orchestral stuff in the movie, that felt out of place. Because there was so much music with lyric like Queen or whatever else. So, but getting back to James Gunn's role in all this, yeah, he, for Marvel, some of you guys don't know, he was going to be actually running, or at the very least, helping Marvel out with where they were going with next. Not necessarily the Skrull stuff, but the idea of bringing gods into the Marvel Universe. I mean, you saw what he did with Star-Lord, which is relatively different than his comic book counterpart, like him being half god.
Right.
Because his dad is a god.
Yeah.
Like his dad's is his dad a demigod, or is technically Star-Lord the demigod now? Because his dad was the planet. Yeah. Which was never his...
Well, no, I'm pretty sure he gave up those powers. Or he no longer has them.
But No, he gave up the powers, but he's still part god, though. Like, his daddy was a god.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of the DNA, you can only get rid of the powers.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that he was going to introduce, he being James Gunn, was going to introduce more cosmic entities into the Marvel Universe. And he was the one helping them with that and bringing his knowledge to that. And now with him gone, a lot of that, unless he left the Bible, like an actual book with all of his, info in there, it's lost.
Yeah.
Because he left. I'm sure his brother is still working there, but still. So it's one of those things where, because it was done over, again, really, really bad jokes, but there is no actual proof that James Gunn had ever did any of the things that he joked, quote unquote, because again, they just weren't jokes, they were just shit. Right? There was no proof that he did any of that. So you have Disney being like, well, I guess we have to let him go. And DC's like, but he didn't do anything wrong. And we also need some help with these movies, which they do. And so they bring him on, and it seems like he's going to be writing Suicide Squad 2.
Huh.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I liked his work with Guardians of the Galaxy.
So do you think you might watch Suicide Squad 1 and 2
I
now?
might.
See? See, look what it's doing to this guy. This guy over here that was like, oh, I've heard such bad things about Suicide Squad. Now all of a sudden, DC has made the right move because it's like, you've enjoyed James Gunn's work because it's been, you know what it is too about his work in Guardians? I think it's been raunchier than what I expect in a Marvel film, which would do very well in a DC movie.
I mean, tell that to, what was it? Thor 3? Ragnarok, there we go.
Oh yeah. Well, there was definitely some of the I will admit some of the newer Marvel movies maybe they want to shed that they want to shed that whole idea of like, oh, we're for kids, but definitely though if any like it's weird because they shed the idea of like we're not for kids, but then they like hold on to very tight the idea of like but we make everything a comedy. Because that's another thing that people complain about with Marvel movies that I can kind of see where they're coming from in certain cases where like everything becomes a comedic moment. Like Joss Whedon, even with him gone, he's like influenced the Marvel universe
Right.
via quips. Because it feels like everybody quips now. You know? Like even Groot quips and all he says is, I am Groot. And it's like, damn it, even that one can quip. No, but seriously though, do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? Because for me, I think it's a good idea for their universe, like just actually trying to get their movies back on track and people to like them.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea there. You could argue it's a bad PR idea, but frankly, when it came to the James Gunn controversy, I did not hear anyone other than Cernovich and those that agreed with Cernovich who were potentially anti-James Gunn being anti-Trump. I never heard anyone who wasn't in that camp saying, well, James Gunn should be fired.
Yeah.
I did hear some people say, hey, he shouldn't have made those jokes. Hey, they were inappropriate. You know, hey, should he really have that job? Like, questioning, should he really have that job? And you can question it, sure. But to say he should be fired when this was stuff that we knew a while ago, it's like those people, regardless of what their political beliefs were, they should have done a little bit more research and known that he should have been, again, not even hired if we're going by that standard. Yeah. Because Disney allowed that to be a problem for so long, despite the fact that people knew. These were not uncovered. This was not an uncovered controversy. Yeah. This was already out there.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So I think it's really, and again, it wasn't a PR nightmare necessarily. Like, it was Disney thinking, oh God, we're going to have a PR nightmare.
We have to shut down this fire before it burns us down. It's like, really?
But here's why, though. Probably because they wanted that deal with 20th Century Fox to go through.
Yeah, probably.
And instead of telling James Gunn to lay low, or maybe they did and James Gunn was pissed and told them to go F themselves, but instead of telling James Gunn to lay low... What?
Nothing.
No, what did you say? I didn't hear it.
I said, well, somebody has to sometimes.
Okay, that's fair. Somebody has to tell that to somebody sometimes? Is that going to be written on your tombstone, Tristan? Hey, man, somebody has to tell them.
Go fuck yourself sometime.
Sometime. Everybody has to tell you. No. But seriously, though. No, I'm
in Suicide Squad.
I mean,
you
that would be
me
fun.
Later, James.
There you go. Right, just take the idea. No, but seriously though, I wonder if they didn't even tell him to lay low. If they were just like, yeah, no, you goodbye, yeah. And then Gunn is pissed, and of course Batista also upset as well because he considered Gunn a friend due to the fact that he's seen Gunn now, and he knew that that person, that Gunn that tweeted that stuff, that's not the same man that he knows now. And the entire cast got together and even actually signed a letter saying that James Gunn has changed. He's not that person anymore. But Gunn was not rehired. We don't know what is going on with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And another thing as well, Tristan, Batista has been saying, hey, I would love to work with James Gunn on Suicide Squad 2. So is the Marvel Universe now losing Drax? it's like Disney. I understand what Disney was thinking about. Like, oh, we need to get this. I'm not saying it was right, but I understand if they were thinking we need to get all this content from 20th Century Fox to launch our streaming service.
Yeah.
But throwing Gunn under the bus like this,
right, was not the way to.
was yeah. And again, maybe they told him, "Hey, man, we're gonna rehire you. Just lay low." And again, I don't know. Like, we don't know. We're not privy to those conversations.
I feel like that people would be more pissed off about that though. Just Disney being like, "Oh, we'll hire you back later." Like if they did it later for Guardians 3.
Well,
like,
the Cernovich people would, but I don't think.
No,
I don't know. I don't think
know.
people who actually no, because like it's bad.
Even people that like him though would be mad at Disney just for being like, "Oh,
yeah,
you get
Well, they don't get brownie points, but at least they're correcting the wrong.
Yeah.
You know? They don't get brownie points. We're not like, thank you so much, Disney. No, but they're at least correcting the mistake that they made. And again, they're at least giving him like hope. Like, hey, you know, if you keep your head low, don't worry. But they may have just told him, goodbye. It was fun while it lasted, but we can't keep you on due to those comments that you made. And DC is just sitting there like, but did he do it or not?
Right.
Because if he didn't do it, why not? I mean, and it sucks too because like DC has had questionable hires before, like with some of the stuff that Snyder has said in the past.
Right.
Zack Snyder, and that's actually really sad. Where it's like Snyder said stuff that was legitimately odd for me to be like, why is he writing Batman? When he talked about Batman being raped in prison, why is he writing Batman?
Yeah.
Right? And I think it was Snyder as well, though don't, like, if I'm wrong here, guys, my bad. But I'm pretty sure it was Snyder as well that mentioned that She-Hulk was only made to be Hulk's girlfriend, which is odd because, I don't know if you know this, Tristan. Do you know that they're cousins? So, what in the flying?
Yeah.
What in the flying? What's up? What's in the air? It's a flying fuck. What in the flying? But seriously, though, yeah, I think it sucks though because Disney, DC has made those questionable hires, but this is the one case.
No, it's just a stupid fucking comment.
But this is one of those situations where I think they made the right call only because those Guns, are much older than the comments made by Snyder. Like those comments were made like around the time they hired him. Like Gunn's comments were made way before Disney was considering hiring him. And also, again, Gunn has apologized for it. So he's claimed ownership for it. I don't believe Snyder has ever apologized for some of the weird stuff that he said.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about as well. So either way, I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Be polite. Be polite, but because you can disagree with us, I don't think there's any reason to go from 0 to James Gunn as a pedophile. Like, just because you agree with that. Like, you could say he deserved to be fired for the joke, and he shouldn't be working for the joke. I would disagree, but again, you could try to make that argument. But to say, like, oh, if he made that joke, he's clearly that. It's just like, it's not how it works.
I know.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like, if I make a joke about being a unicorn, that doesn't mean that I'm secretly a unicorn. Although if you tell anybody, no, that's just not how it works, you know. But either way, though, Tristan went silent. Tristan, do you have something to tell me? Do you have something to share with the class? Are you?
No.
All right. No, nothing. Okay. So, just want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below.